G'day, AJ. How are you?
G'day, Mo. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I am tippity top of the world. Thank you very much for asking.
I thought
How
I'd
about
change it
you?
up a bit, girl. Let's get excited.
Oh, that is so Aussie, old man. Is
Yeah.
always getting soft.
Uh, not. I would hope that people would still remember Big Kev.
Yeah,
Like, Big
maybe.
Kev, and I'm excited.
You're
I'm excited.
excited. I don't know. Listen, I mean, we are a million years old, so I don't know if many people can remember Big Kev,
That's right.
but you should Google the YouTube ad.
He was very
Anyway,
excited. He was very
he
excited.
was really excited. I'm sure every region across the globe has got their own Big Kev.
Yep.
YouTube it, Google it, look it up. But anyway,
Mm.
welcome to episode 5, 4,
Five.
3. I don't know, 5?
5. It was 5, yeah.
Welcome to episode 5 of Songs on the Couch.
Mm.
Sitting down, we're talking out, breaking it down, songs on the couch. Music and minds will figure it out, laughing and learning what it's all about. On the couch.
So tell me, Drum Chucks,
Yep.
what song are we bringing on over the couch today?
We are bringing a bit of a hidden gem. Well, for me, certainly a
Yeah.
hidden gem. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know who this band was or this song, but we are doing 21 Pilots, Stressed Out, from their album Blurry Face. So
Right.
we don't have to do a correction corner there. I was right.
No,
last time. I was right.
correction corner. Nice. I mean, I think we should let the listeners know that we are just randomly, getting on the Googles and asking it to spit out like what are the, I don't know, the most streamed songs of the last couple of decades. That's kind of the pool of songs that we're pulling from at the moment, just to, we want to tap into the popular stuff so that we can, give the people what they want, build the audience,
That's it.
So, yeah, hidden gem for me too. Like I think I heard it once. I'm going to give a shout out to my lovely nieces who are in their early 20s or late teens, early 20s, who I went to karaoke with. And I am sure one of them sung this song. And I was like, this sounds really familiar. But I probably wouldn't have heard it on the radio because I do listen to Gold 104.3.
Yes. I listen to Spotify, but then I'm listening to
your
my
echo chamber of 1970s prog rock. Yeah, I hear you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I listen to Spotify too, and I am listening to my echo chamber of karaoke songs that I like to sing at karaoke.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's my echo chamber. But yes, so hidden gem of a track. Cracking. I'm always saying that. Everything's a cracking tune.
It is.
What a revelation. What a discovery.
Yeah. Oh, and there's so many things that obviously I know nothing about this band, but I was like, things that I thought as a journalist, like, it's this and that, and it's been the complete opposite. So it's been a good journey of good discovery of like finding out who 21 Pilots are.
Who they are. So what was the this that you thought, and what was the that it was?
Well, I thought that 21 Pilots was like a full four-piece band, like your typical four-piece band, but it's literally two guys.
Well, it's quite a full sound, isn't it? So
and that's why I was like, these guys, this band sounds amazing. When I'm like, they're just two dudes, like a drummer and a piano player / singer. I was like,
right.
Oh, that's so well, okay. Good on you for producing.
I mean, but surely they would have got some session players in, wouldn't they? Like, no, they did
all themselves.
Actually,
yeah.
All right, so
samples,
interesting tidbits.
Yeah, interesting tidbits.
When our production values get better, we will get a little overdub that we'll press the button
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
which is when we, get
Are
an
you saying my
audience
little
and
interesting tidbit is not good enough?
oh no, I'm here for it. I'm I'm here for it. We just need to record it, mate. We just
We
need to get
do.
it
We
in.
really do.
We need to get an instrumental behind it, get it in
Yeah.
the studio, and
Yeah.
put it in the can.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
what we need to do. But for now, interesting tidbit
Tidbits. Yep. That's it.
is okay. Yes. All right. So two dudes.
Yeah. Yeah. But before we go into interesting tidbits,
Oh
I need
yes.
another correction corner here, which is a bit of a
Okay.
Mandela effect for me, because I thought for
Okay.
years that this is what it was, but when I properly Googled it, like looked up the video, it was the completely not what I thought it was. So last week we were talking, I said, don't go towards the light, Gary. So a clip from like Pixar, which I shared
Ah,
with you.
yes,
His
you
name's
did.
not
That was
Gary. His
what
name's
is
not,
it?
it's Harry.
It's Harry.
But all my time, like every time I bring that up as like a, like a joke or like as just a meme to throw, a verbal meme to throw in for things, I always say Gary.
You
And
got it
now,
wrong.
and
You've been getting it wrong for years.
I've been getting it wrong for decades. And here I was like,
How does
no,
that
it's
feel?
not
How does
Harry.
that feel to
Well,
to
I,
admit that? We can be
well,
vulnerable here in
you know what it
Correction
is?
Corner.
I'm not
What is
convinced.
it?
I'm still convinced because the Mandela effect of what we like. A classic one is the Monopoly guy. Everyone thinks that the Monopoly guy has a monocle, but Monopoly have never put a monocle on him. But we all know him as the Monopoly guy with a monocle. That's probably the most.
Who's the psychologist here?
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm just kidding. Carry on.
So for me, I still think it's Gary, even though I've just been told by Pixar
Mm,
film clip that I shared with you, it's Harry.
yeah,
I'm like,
it's Harry.
"Ah,
Okay.
I still want it to be Gary. I feel like
Yeah,
Gary.
I want it to be Gary too. It's kind of got an Aussie flavour
It
too.
does, and maybe that's probably why. Because I just put the Aussie swing to it. And went, don't go towards the light, Gary. Right.
Right. And could you
I
tell the
can't
people
believe
who didn't listen to episode 4 a bit of context about why you said don't go towards the light, Gary? You sprouted the Pixar moment.
Oh, because we were talking about the weekend's blinding lights, and being
Yes.
blinded by the light.
Right.
And then I said, don't go
And how it
towards the
could be
light, Gary.
toxic.
And how it could be, and the blue, the blue static lights that attract flies and mozzies,
Yeah.
to keep them free of you getting bitten and them on your food.
Right.
They
Yeah.
go, and then they go, "Bloop," and then they die.
And then they die.
They
And
die.
which is very much I'm not sure the weekend was going to die from the blinding
No,
lights, but there was certainly some toxicity in that
he just
behavior.
he was just drawn to it,
He
like
was drawn to that,
like a moth to
Gary.
a flame, like Gary, Harry,
Well,
Gary,
no,
Barry. Look, I don't. You can make up your own words. I don't know.
we're sticking to it. Let's
That's it.
stay with Gary. Okay,
Pixar,
correction corner.
when you do a 30th, 40th anniversary, can you just edit Harry to Gary for us Aussies? Thanks, that'd be great. No
Yeah,
big task, no big questions.
no big task. It needs an Aussie accent too. Don't
does.
go towards the light, Gary.
That's it. Come on, mate. Turn back around. What is this? We got
Is
we got
this
some
bush
sausages on the
week?
barbie we need to attack.
Right.
That's it.
There's some hot flesh over there sitting around the
That's
barbie,
it.
and I'm thirsty.
That's
Don't go
it.
towards the light, Gary.
I need some blood. Give me some blood. Come on. What is this?
Right. Yeah. All right.
So
Okay.
let's go with
Yeah.
our interesting tidbits, shall we?
Yes. Tell us about the song. Tell us the interesting tidbits.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
So
Yeah.
well, the first one being, I didn't know that they were a two-piece
No,
two-piece
I
guys.
didn't know that. I mean, I was with a name like 21 Pilots. It's misleading.
It is misleading. Most duos, or they kind of say their names or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's actually I know I don't know this play. You might know the play, but they actually got their name 21 Pilots from a play written by Arthur Miller called All My Sons. And in the play,
Right.
a businessman knowingly sells like faulty airplane parts in during the war, which
Right.
results in the death of like 21 pilots. So
Holy
this,
dooly. Oh,
yeah,
why
it's
did he
really
sell?
dark.
Why did he sell the airplane parts? What was the? Dude had to make a living.
I
Dude probably
guess.
had to make a living.
Well,
It's
that's
probably a
it.
bit of commission on those sales,
Yeah.
probably a bit of commish.
Yeah.
And the conflict was, I got to feed my family, or I got to see how these faulty parts work out. And 21 pilots died. Well, that is a tragedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
so they were originally formed in '09 in Columbus, Ohio.
Mhm,
Tyler Joseph is the singer slash keyboard player slash synthesizers, all the
mhm,
cool parts. And they've
mhm,
gone through like several lineup changes before setting on as a duo with Josh Dunn on the drums.
mhm,
So Tyler says, they found like play themes of ethics, decision making, consequences, compelling from the play,
oh,
and obviously the 21 Pilots reference from the play. They went, oh well, this
wow.
is we feel the same way in a sense of what
Ah,
this person in the play
this
was portraying.
conflict,
Yeah,
this co this de oh, all very psychological constructs,
yeah, and just in the
psychodynamic.
name of the band.
Yeah, right, and that, the members of the band kind of,
Mm,
um, felt, what's the word I'm looking for? Akin maybe to the plight of the protagonist,
mm.
and that it must have touched them on a deep level, that
Yeah,
they named themselves 21 Pilots.
it is. Well, yeah, the band's like recurring themes of struggles, integrity, mental health, which are present in a lot of their songs.
Yeah.
Um, that's where all the name comes. So they're essentially, filtering their songs from the name, like from the feelings of the band name, which is really cool. Like most band names will go, okay, we've got a band name, whatever, and then we've just got our songs. Where I think 21 Pilots we've got our band name, which is our theme, but then we're also going to base our songs on that theme of our band name.
Quite naturally, that probably happened. It sounds like these
Mm,
young fellows are quite psychologically minded. They've done the work for us, basically.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. They have. Yeah.
Right,
Mm,
okay. So it sounds like they're deep thinking, vulnerable young fellows.
yeah.
I don't know how young they are, but I'm sticking with the fact that I'm old,
I think
so
they are young fellows. Yeah. Well, this album came out in 2015 with
okay.
where this song's on.
That's a
Um,
decade ago. That's a
yeah,
decade ago.
yeah,
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 okay.
2025. Oh my goodness. Okay, yep. That
Yeah.
oh, uh,
Right.
it reached number 2 on the Billboard, so it did well in the Billboard Hottest 100.
The single or the album?
The album, the whole
The
album.
album,
Yeah,
Mr. Blurry Face, not
Face.
was it? Yeah, not Mister, but just Blur.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have the 21 Pilots fan base coming for blood, aren't I,
yeah,
if I
you
don't
are.
get it right?
Well,
But
speaking of 21 Pilots fan base,
tell me.
that's how they actually got famous, is because of their fan base.
Oh, an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, tell me. What
So their fan base was like in their early days, they actually went old school in the early days where they do like DIY CDs, like hand, like home recordings, but they'd also then hand deliver all their albums like to venues and to record labels to try and get
Yeah,
themselves known. So they weren't just picked up like that. Like they
yeah.
really did the work.
Right, what was their hometown? Columbus, Ohio?
Columbus,
Was that
Ohio. Yeah.
right, so
So
they've
they would personally like burn their own CDs and like just go hand them out to local shows and yeah,
wow, grassroots marketing, I believe that might be called.
it's pretty. I'm like, and I'm seeing like a bit of not a bit of a theme, but I'm actually quite surprised that a lot of art, like today's artists, are doing things old school. They're not just like when you think, oh, okay, they've just been picked up like that and they've become like famous. It's like, oh no, they've actually done the hard
Yeah,
work
the
and
ground
the
work.
groundwork, yeah, and
Mhm.
gone the old school way. Like, okay, yeah, if you want to get out there, we'll just put our CDs out there.
Hey,
If I want to get out there, I'll just anonymously put myself on YouTube, and it's quite impressive.
yeah,
Yeah,
isn't it? I think I heard Lady Gaga say the other day, I might have been watching Hot Ones, I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that on
Yeah.
YouTube. It's
Where they eat hot wings?
where they eat the hot wings,
Yeah.
yeah, and she was saying that she used to call up venues and pretend to be her own manager and talk herself up.
Ah, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Hey, you
so
gotta do it. I'm I'm
yeah,
I'm glad that, like, bands and artists are, you know, it's good to hear that you're not hearing of people just go, "Oh, yeah, I just became instantly famous." Like, yeah, okay, people
yeah,
are still doing it hard and trying it hard.
yeah. I mean, well, there are some that have had some luck, like,
Well, there is.
I'm thinking about,
Who
Billie Eilish
Yeah.
and Open Eyes up on SoundCloud. And then, the producer, her brother, Phineas, getting a phone call saying, "Yeah, mate, it's taking off. You might wanna monetize it. You might wanna take
Mm.
the free download off it."
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah, okay. So they have pounded the pavement,
They have. Yep,
these fellas. They have built up the fan base in Columbus, Ohio,
yep.
and so
Without a
first
record deal.
without a record deal, first stop Columbus, Ohio, next stop the world.
That's it. Like, they
Right.
filled, like, a 1,700 cap venue without the help of anyone. Like, they just had a really good fan base, and that rare, like, it's a rare achievement for an unassigned band and marketing, touring companies to go, "Oh, yeah, we need to fill," my band, I'll be lucky if I get 30 people, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're packed out." So 1,700 at a cap venue
Yeah.
showed interest to record companies. So they're like, "Oh, we've actually got
Yeah.
once again, we've got a hidden gem here. Hey, we need to look at this one."
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's very cool. What a way to build your fan base, just to do it at that grassroots level and just
Mhm.
to, be available to your fans, delivering CDs and
Yep,
records and,
yep.
filling a venue based on your hard work and
That's right.
the fruits of your labor have come to fruition.
They let the music do the talking, because even when they first were doing gigs, they did a bit of a weekend. They wouldn't show their faces. They would wear ski masks and hoodies. So you didn't they
Oh,
like once again, it was like that mystery of like, "Oh, who are these 2 guys playing this
yeah.
music?" Like, it's a bit like Daft Punk, I'm sure now
Yeah.
Google, who the people behind Daft Punk are, but back then it was like, "Who are these 2
Yeah.
mysterious robots? They're like, we're producing this really cool music."
I mean, can we talk about the OGs of that, particularly from the 70s? Oh, I'm thinking of Kiss.
Oh, yeah, Kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if we think of the Aussie OGs of that, Tism. This is
Yeah.
serious. Do you remember Tism?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So it's kind of creating that air of what?
Air of
And
mystique, mysterious mystique.
mysteriousness, yes, and
Yeah.
untouchability and
Yeah.
okay, and like a desire for people to wanna get to know.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the whole point
Wow.
of becoming famous, popular, is having a hook. Whether
Yeah.
it's, the 70s was glam rock, so everyone dressed up in makeup, or like Kiss and
Yeah.
David Bowie, or extravagant outfits. It's
Yeah,
no different to now.
there was some gold lame in the 70s. There was some highlights
Yep.
and some gold lame.
Yep.
Okay.
In the 80s, it was all about big hairdos, and,
It
you know,
was.
big hair and big guitars and big noise, it was like big sound.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In the 90s, it was stripped back. It was like, I'm gonna just wear my everyday daggy clothes because that's all I can afford. We can't
Sure.
we can't keep up with the 80s, so we'll just strip it right back, and then it spoke to the everyday person. Like, it,
Right.
yeah,
Hence the name grunge.
it's the
Hence
name grunge. That's it.
photos that you can smell of
Yeah,
people in the 90s.
100%. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's good. Smells of
Smell the
bong
BO,
water
BO,
and
BO,
BO.
bottled water, cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Stale
that I have
clothing. Yeah.
never associated with anyone who
No,
would
never.
spill
No,
bong water.
no, that's right. No.
No. Right. Okay, so let's talk about the
The song.
song. Let's talk about, well, I want to start with sort of your feelings about the song? How did it make you feel on first listen? Like, where
It
were we at?
it's funny, like, I was actually from and it must be I think the drum beat hooked me in. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't 'cause obviously I didn't know the band. I wasn't prepared for rap music on top of it. I was just like, "Oh,
No.
this is" like, I was just doing this from, like, as soon as the song started. I was like, "Yep, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah, it's a bop, isn't it? I was
it's
bopping. It's a
bopping."
bop.
It was a bop. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was get and then the lyrics, I was like, "Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that." And the
Yeah.
cool thing about the lyrics is that it's mixture. It's like spoken word and then, like, singing, but then the spoken word would go in and out of time with the song, like, almost like a bit of an anxiety, like, well, when we get stressed, we go from like anxious, we go from 0 to 100 really quickly, and you know, your body timing goes from
Yeah.
in beat to out of beat and then back in beat, and
Mhm.
I was like, oh, this is yeah, I can see what they're trying to portray here. It's actually it's really good.
Are we noticing a theme here with songs that
Yeah,
songs are actually, kind of symbolic of what what feelings are, or sort of the cadence or the rhythm of feelings, or
yeah,
yeah, I think we've mentioned that a couple of times. We're
we
only
have.
in episode 5 though, but that's sort of something that has been highlighted to you
Yeah, yeah,
about
absolutely. Yeah, and I
about
think
how song symbolically represents the feeling.
it does, and a lot of for me personally, a lot of music that I listen to is not, and I guess it's just the era, and maybe I'm stuck in an era where it's all, they don't really sing about anxiety or stress or like, or if they're singing about a breakup, it's more of a ballad, like Air Supply, I'm all out of love, it's
Hope you're not dissing me.
no, 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 not at all. Absolutely not. No, but it's a different type of, and as I'm saying, like
Mm.
the songs of the previous eras are a they sang about I guess anxiety and breakup and heartache and stress differently to now, where I think now
Yeah.
it's actually more
It's a
raw.
bit more direct.
It's very,
Yeah.
yes, thank you. It's more direct. It's not
Yeah.
really, I think like breakup songs in the past was more of a not really coming from feelings, was like, this is what the audience likes, so therefore we just know how to write a breakup song type of thing. Where
Yeah.
I think the artists, and I could be wrong, like once again I could be wrong, but I think the artists that we're certainly listening to, I'm really feeling it from in
Mm.
here,
Yeah, well,
like real life experience. I'm like, oh, this is
yeah.
man, like
Well,
the
art is
millennials and
pain.
the millennials and Gen Z have got some
Yeah, they know how to do it.
they've got some underlying
They're the
struggles.
trailblazers of, being vulnerable with your feels, right? I mean,
Mm,
look, therapy has existed for about 100 years now.
mm,
Thanks, Freud. More than that.
mhm,
Uh, I'm sure even prior to Freud.
mm.
Yeah, correction corner. I don't know if there's a therapist, psychotherapist, mental health social worker, counselor out there who can tell me about the history of therapy.
That's right.
Let me know. But yes, certainly we have been exploring our feelings for millennia. But I think, there's been patterns of the way that we've managed that.
Mm,
Uh, well, certainly since the, 1940s to uh, the us kids from, the 70s and 80s,
mm,
we were told, don't show your feelings. Like push that shit down.
mm,
Like
mm.
repress that. Push that away.
Mhm.
Don't don't let anyone see that because they'll
Nah,
think you're weak.
that's right.
But, the millennials and Gen Zs come out and they're like, "No, mate, we're gonna wear our hearts on our sleeve is what we're gonna do,
Yeah, we're gonna
and
tell
we're
you
gonna
how it is.
we're gonna tell you how it is." So I think if we're going back to the songs of the 70s and the 80s, it was much more metaphorical, the way that we
Mm,
talked about feelings, much more symbolic rather
yeah,
than direct. And, this song is very direct.
super direct.
super direct. Should we get into it? Should we like have a think about some of the emotion, the psychological
Mm,
constructs? I
yeah.
mean, I suppose I should talk about how I felt when I
Oh, yeah,
first
please
heard
do.
it.
Yes.
I felt delighted, and I don't know if that was the feeling that the song was intending, but as a therapist, I think it really tickled me in a place that
I can
only
talk
think of.
about this. This is probably what you're
Yeah,
thinking. I've got stuff I can talk about.
that's right. It really tickled me, and, well, because I was thinking, I think you guys have managed to encapsulate, like, a few things that nobody really talks about, that we
Mm,
don't really talk about, but are real and true and authentic, and they're there, ever present. And I think the first thing is that they talk about basically is the great childhood scam, right? It's a real scam,
yeah,
I think,
it
because
is.
it doesn't last forever, and we obviously our minds aren't developed enough to really appreciate it while we're in it. But
Mm.
how many adults are sort of telling us, "Oh, enjoy it while it lasts." You know,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be young forever.
Nah,
Oh,
that's it.
you're not gonna be footloose and hang on, let me put on my old lady voice. You're not gonna be footloose and fancy free forever.
Oh, no.
And, when you're a kid, you just think people are being dramatic, but, they were straight up warning us that life will not be idyllic forever.
No.
So, I think, straight up, this song taps into a bit of a bit of a cognitive bias. Maybe it's this, sort of rose-colored glasses retrospection,
Mm, mm.
that we use when we're feeling stressed to look back on our childhoods, and it actually looks better in our minds than it really was. Like, we really, as 21 Pilots say, wish we could turn back time to the good old days when our mama sang us to sleep, but now
Yep.
we're stressed out. I'm sure your mama did sing you to sleep, and I'm sure it was beautiful. And as you
Mm,
look back on it, what a lovely, beautiful moment to share with your mother. But
yeah.
I'm sure it was paired with hours of nagging to brush your teeth
Yeah,
before
that's
that.
right.
I'm
Yes.
sure it was paired with
Yep.
like reprimands about not emptying your lunchbox.
Yep.
I'm sure
Come on,
it
it's 7:30. Get to bed. Come on, what is
was.
this?
Yes, I'm sure it was laden with, like, what do we call that? Warning times. Now you've
Yeah.
got 10 minutes left, kids.
That's right.
10 minutes left before you have to turn off the PlayStation.
Yep, yep, yep.
So, we all wish we could turn back time. I think to soothe us when we're stressed out, we turn back time, and maybe it's a little rosier than we
Mm.
uh than it was when we were in it, because I sure as hell didn't love being nagged.
No, no way. Who wa
Right.
who wants I still don't love being nagged now, but
Yeah,
by my significant other. It's just,
right.
it doesn't
Nobody loves a
change.
nag. No, it doesn't change because,
Doesn't change.
we're all adults and we're stressed out, and we're kind of, you know,
Yeah,
childhood childhood led us to believe that it was gonna be idyllic forever, but it was just a scam. It
that's right.
was just a scam.
But the thing that I like about this is that even though he's appealing to, I guess, this generation of, how and it is hard, like, but what I think that a lot of generations before us need to also listen to this, because I'm sure each generation before us were in the exact same boat. Like, it wasn't easy. They wish that their child,
Mm,
I still hear my parents say, back in my day, I could leave the front door open and go out and play, and nothing would never happen to us. And as long as I was back by, the sun went down. I'm like, yeah, but so I think it's funny that even though this song is a now song for our or the generation now, it needs to relate to all generations prior. And I
yeah.
think people should listen to it and have a and just sit and have a think, like, especially the ones that like, "Oh, I can't talk about my feelings, because I'm now in my 60s and, time has passed and, that's in the past." It's like, I actually have
Yeah.
to listen
It's
and
quite relevant. It's
reflect. Reflect on it.
yeah. I
I think
think
it's a really relevant song in that
it
sense.
is. I mean, of course, not everybody's childhood is idyllic. Not everybody,
No.
I think for the people whose childhoods were idyllic, it is kind of transgenerational. I mean, there are a lot of people who didn't have an idyllic childhood and who had the struggle of adult struggles put on them way before
Mm,
their time, um, way before, they were capable of being able to deal with it. But, money needed to be earned
that's
and
it.
food needed to be put on the table, but I think what you're saying is that it is transgenerational. If you've had an
We
idyllic childhood, I think we all bought into the scam that this was going to last forever, and
mm,
if yeah, but it
sure
it
doesn't.
it doesn't last forever, and then we are you know, moved I think this is kind of a bit of an anthem for all generations is that we kind of are then moved into an anxiety, like it's a capitalism induced anxiety because when the idealized childhood runs out and expires, you
Yeah.
are you are faced with social pressure to be independent and make it on your own and
Mhm.
wake up, you need to make money,
Yep.
as they say. So this lyric is, I think it encapsulates everything about being a young adult, like today, yesterday, the day before,
Mm.
generations before. It's like, you wake up and there's bills. You blink, there's more bills.
Yep.
You dare to breathe. You've got debt collectors circling you like vultures.
Oh, that's right. Student debt,
Yeah.
HECS are like, I don't know, HECS is probably what, like 30, 40 years old? Ma
Yeah. Well,
s
yeah, because education was free, in Australia, I think up until the late 60s or late 70s maybe, or
Mm,
even the 80s, I don't know. I'll have to put that one in correction
mm,
corner.
mm. So there's
But
still people in their late 40s, like, still probably paying off their HECS debt.
yeah, mate, I will probably be paying off my HEX debt until I die because my training was quite extensive,
Mm,
but so a lot of years spent at uni and yeah, and I think, maybe generations before sort of our generation, um, were they didn't quite have, the burden of student debt, and so their childhoods might have lasted a little bit longer, but as soon as you
mm,
start earning money, you're on the hook to
mm.
pay that back. So, we wake up as adults and we are expected to juggle a lot of responsibilities, be like financially successful, like well, just keep a roof over our heads
Mm.
and food in our bellies and then somehow still have time for creativity and self-care. I mean, that's is what is self-care at this point? Like
That's
what
right.
is it? Is it crying in the shower? Like is that
Hey, whatever gets you through the day. You gotta do, hey, like I say, you do you, man. You do like,
Yeah.
you gotta
But
do it.
certainly with all of this pressure and the cost of living and, certainly, I mean, therapy is a luxury because it ain't for free. And so there's
No.
a lot of young people out there who are experiencing this social pressure and capitalism induced anxiety,
Mm.
and just like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but
No. No.
it's basically a Maslow, bless him,
Yeah.
identified that, it's kind of a pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, we've got to meet our basic needs. We can't
Mhm.
we can't really achieve much further in life without our basic needs met. And then we have to
Okay.
meet, our safety needs. We've got, and so, unless we've met our basic needs and our safety needs, then we can sort of move up the triangle. We have the capacity then to meet our psychological needs, and then right up the top of the pyramid. And, counselors, social workers, psychotherapists out there, please get in the comments and tell me how I got
Mm,
this wrong. Look, I think I'm on the right track, but, at the top of the pyramid is this self-actualization, and self-actualization is the capacity to be your fullest, most authentic and
mm,
productive self. But, if you haven't got a roof over your head, like, it's really hard to
mm,
self-actualize.
mm.
If you're hungry, you can't be creative.
That's right. And I don't know
Yeah.
about you, Mo. Um, growing up, and I don't know if it's still relevant today. So, I grew up thinking that I had to, once I, was an of adult age, so what, like
Mhm.
late teens, early 20s, I then had to live the, what, I call it the American dream, because that's what people aspired to back in the days, like the American dream, the house with the white picket fence and the perfect
Mhm.
partner and this unrealistic timeline of,
Mhm.
well, I'm with this person now. We've been together for a while. I guess the next step is to, be engaged with this person and then get a house together. And the American dream is, well, we say the Australian dream as well, but people most know the phrase, the
Yeah.
American dream. It's unachievable.
Yeah, yeah. It's a it's
Like,
a it's a social expectation that is unachievable. I mean, it needs
yeah,
to adjust, doesn't it? We need to adjust. We
yeah,
need to adjust the expectation, but it's a social norm, you're right, that has kind of induced anxiety in young people,
yeah. It
and
has.
we need to really I mean, look, the hippies have been challenging it since the early '60s,
That's it.
with the commune life and that sort of stuff, but you know, zeitgeist prevails, really. The common ideal, it's a strong one, and it keeps on pushing through the generations.
Yeah,
So, it creates a lot of young people to experience anxiety that they're not sort of meeting these social norms or expectations. But I think this song is about that, isn't it? It's
mm,
really sort of saying, yeah, guys, we feel the pressure too. So we're just gonna do a little bit of retrospection just to soothe ourselves and
yeah,
just stick a little bit of our minds back in childhood, just
hmm,
to know, just to soothe our sore souls who are
hmm.
so anxious about meeting our basic needs right now.
That's right.
And I mean, what's their record label called? Brought to you by Ramen or something like that?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. So I've never even heard
yeah,
of this record label before, but
yeah,
they're doing well. I like.
yeah.
uh,
Listen, yeah, when you're eating ramen, right? I
That's
mean, the
it.
only way to make that palatable is to take yourself back to childhood, where
That's it.
what we call in Australia 2-minute noodle.
Yes, yes.
Yes, the Maggi 2-minute noodles, not
Yeah. Or
affiliated.
the Meager N
The
noodles.
mee goreng, yes, that was I think an artifact of, the '90s, the old mee goreng that
Yeah,
came out, a little bit later than the 2-minute noodles.
that's right.
But, yeah, when you're eating ramen, you gotta make that palatable by taking yourself back to when ramen was a tasty treat
Mm.
rather than a
But
survival mechanism.
but not only that though, ramen is a survival mechanism for most young people who like I know students, and it's like, well, I've got no money, so I can afford an 80 cents
Mhm,
packet of 2-minute noodles, 80 cents packet of Mega in. I'm just gonna live
mhm.
off 2-minute noodles. And I'm sure people in the comments, like, I want to know how many people are listening that, like, in at one phase of their life, they're like, that's all I could afford was 80-cent packet of 2-minute noodles, and that's what I lived
Yeah,
on for like
mate.
12 months. And
Yeah, mate.
so
I
it's
think
quite
we
funny
can.
that a band that are singing and talking about these situations are taken on by a record deal of the name by fueled by two ramen or two
That's
minute
it.
noodles. It's quite a cool contrast. I actually quite like that.
It
I'm
is,
sure it
it
wasn't
is.
intentional, and I'm sure it's like just a massive
No.
coincidence. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But we're here for it.
it's meant to be. It's like a partnership. It's like, yeah, you guys were meant to be signed to that label just purely for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, ramen aside and all the sort of the survival anxiety, do you want to combine that with like just, self-consciousness and insecurity like
Mm.
that as well? Like as if it wasn't bad enough, but and I'm thinking about the lyric, um, about blurry face and I care what you think.
Yeah.
I think is there I read something about it. I don't know. You tell me, drum chucks, if
Mhm.
I get it right or wrong. But
Yeah.
there's something about the singer's makeup where he puts the black um makeup on his neck and over his hands that represents blurry face, and blurry face is kind of a symbol for the crushing weight of, self-consciousness and self-doubt and,
Mm.
anxiety about self-perception and what the world thinks
Yeah.
of him. Look, I might have got that wrong, and I'm sure
Well,
the
I think
fandom are gonna come for us.
I know in the early days, that's the reason why they wore ski masks and skeleton
Ah,
hoodies was to not just to create that mysterious aesthetic, but to also symbolize the anonymity and insecurity themes that obviously are in there that appear in their lyrics and in their songs.
yeah, 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 right, okay. And,
Because you know,
and this is the thing, we're sold a lie in childhood, right? That when you get older, adulthood is gonna bring you clarity and confidence, but the lyrics about, I was told when I got older, all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what
mm,
people think,
yeah,
right? So everyone telling kids that they're going to be confident and, they're going to have clarity in adulthood. We were sold a goddamn lie. That's
mm.
what we was. So, as a kid, our only fear was being afraid of the dark, but now it's
That's it. That's
it's
it.
debt. It's
Yeah,
climate change. It's judgment and scrutiny from others. It's
mm,
failure.
yeah.
It's
But it's it's
yeah.
it's funny the way and the like reading their lyrics, they're talking now get me now I'm obviously not a psychologist, but my understanding of psychology, and tell me if I'm wrong, that
Oh, I will.
people that if you're if you're thinking about things in the past and reliving those past events, you're more in like a depressive state because you wish that how it used to be, like the happy days.
Yeah, we
And
might
things
call
in the
that.
future that you're
Mm,
worried about, that's where you feel anxious.
yeah,
Is
so we
that
might call that. Yeah, you are bang on. I'm gonna call that regression. That is a
mm,
defense mechanism called regression. So when we are feeling stressed in the present and we start ruminating on the past and finding comfort in the
mm,
past, and we regress to an earlier state, something like, regressing to an earlier state,
like when your
in
mama used to sing yourself to sleep?
there's that. Well, we don't wanna ask her to sing it. Well, that would be maladaptive really if we went back to our mums and went, "Sing me to sleep," if you're a 30-year-old man.
That's
We
true.
might think that, that's really shirking
Mm,
adulthood and responsibility and because it's all about functioning really, like, you
that's
can
right.
regress. So I'm gonna give you an example of how I regressed on the weekend.
Yeah.
So, and not that I'm particularly stressed at the moment, but, uh, I'm tired, I'm old. I just
I
I
hear
stayed I stayed in my pajamas all day on Sunday, did not shower, ate junk food, and watched back-to-back stuff on TV, and really only got up to use the toilet and get more food. And that's sort of not really a pleasure that you can afford yourself as an adult, right? You generally got washing to do and hang out and
Yeah, yeah.
dog to walk and, all the things. But I was feeling particularly, I don't know, a little bit burnt out, a little bit um, I wasn't actually feeling any particular way. I just sort of wanted to,
You
get
just
back
needed
to
to lazing
I
on a
needed to
Sunday afternoon.
laze on the
As Queen says, "Lazing on a Sunday afternoon." Mm,
school and the kids of today, aren't you,
that's it.
mate?
That's it. Kids, listen to Night of the Opera. It'll change your life.
It'll change your life. Yeah.
That
So
apparently there's a
that
really good Bohemian Rhapsody song on that album. I don't know. That's
apparently there
what
is.
the
I
people are
don't know.
saying these days. I don't know.
I don't
7
know.
minutes of madness. Who knows?
Right. Apparently it's like a lot of people's influences, like early anyway.
Don't know.
Um, so okay, where was I? Regression. That's where I was. So that would be kind of an adaptive regression. You bring yourself out of it. You're kind of in this childlike state. It's what you do as a child is like not shower and not brush your teeth and stay in your jammies under the blanket. Oh, as though it was hot. No, but we had the aircon on. So, and the people in my household like to crank it to freezing.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It's my type of people. I like it
Yes.
cranked to freezing too. Like the colder
Right.
the better. Yeah.
Right. But, I don't, but I allow it. I just have a thin blanket lying around.
That's
But
it.
maladaptive regression would be if you stayed in bed for days at a time, or if you went back to your mum as a 30-odd-year-old man and asked her to sing you a lullaby.
That's it.
I'm thinking that as a mum, if my kid did that, I would probably go, yes, I'll do that. But why am I
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
that?
There's
What
got to
is
be follow-ups.
happening?
Certainly got to have
What
follow-ups.
what is I'm sure there are some dysfunctional family systems that are highly enmeshed, where there is no follow-up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's regression. And that's what you might slip back into because all of your fears are real and authentic and true and out there, and you're worried about climate change and you're worried about the starving children in Africa, which is a very 1980s thing to say.
Yes.
Eat
Apparently they
your
did a song.
dinner.
Apparently they did a song for
They
that too.
did
I
do
don't know. Look, hey,
Yeah,
there's so many speculations these days, but apparently I heard that
right.
this,
They
this
did.
they did this big whole concert for it, like
1984, yes,
yep.
raised a lot of funds.
They did.
And then
I think they did a Christmas song as well
they
for Africa.
did. I think a couple of countries might have done that for the African
I think they did
countries.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Digressing, but that's all right.
we're digressing.
So
So
I need to
21
ask you a
Pilots-
question.
Yes.
So in these lyrics, do you think they're going back in time in a depressive state, or just just to give themselves some kittens and rainbows memories of the current state they're in? Like, do you think they're fueling? Do you think it's fueling what they're more than what they're feeling now, or is it just like, I'm in a shitty situation, I'm just gonna
I
gonna go back a
it could
bit?
be adaptive. Yeah, I think it could be adaptive just for some self-soothing, a little bit of regression for some self-soothing.
Never
I
heard
think-
anyone.
Never heard anyone to stay in your jammies all day or to want to capture the scent of your childhood and put it in a candle. Because smells remind you of the good old days.
Yeah.
I think that's a place you want to go when you are full of existential anxiety, which could be sort of considered by this song as or represented in this song as sort of a realization that my fears do not shrink. They only get better. And what is the meaning of my life? Am I just a cog in the wheel? Like, will I ever reach my potential? Will I have the opportunity to be creative again while
Yeah,
I'm
that's
working this shithouse office job?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, the fears didn't shrink. They got a gym membership and they are getting swole.
That's
Is
it.
what the fears are doing.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know what the meaning of life is, it's 42. That's all I'm going to
Is
say.
that? Oh, okay. Is that? Yeah, I think I
Hitchhiker's
know
Guide
what
to the Galaxy.
the galaxy. Okay, we are really schooling the young folk, aren't
We are. We are.
Yeah, we really
Good.
are. Yes. So in all, a bit of regression in here, a bit of going back to the good old days, bit of escapism really from the harsh reality, right? Like they're sort of saying student loans or treehouse homes. The harsh reality is the student loans, so we're going to take the treehouse homes.
That's it. The American dream is gone. Doesn't
Right.
exist. Don't sell it to us.
No.
We're not buying it.
No, but then you realize that treehouse homes have plumbing and you might have to shit in a cup.
This is true. I never thought of that. This is true. Damn.
Yes, but I think this fantasy of going back to childhood is a nice sort of avoidant coping mechanism when we're feeling the stress of modern life and having to meet our needs financially, you
Mm.
know?
But then where do you draw the line of going too far back? Like
Well, that
there's reminiscing and going, okay, that's my coping. But then
no,
when there's reminiscing and then you stay in that
we're
timeline.
there. This is what we talk about in treatment, in
Mm,
psychology. It's about functioning, right? So if you're not functioning, if you're not brushing your teeth, if one day of not showering turns into 2 weeks and matted hair, that's when we're going too far back. That's when we're regressing. That's when it becomes maladaptive. So we talk about adaptive defense mechanisms
mm,
and maladaptive defense mechanisms.
mm, mm.
I mean, they can all be used adaptively or maladaptively. I mean, humor is an adaptive defense, right? Knocks the edge off, like, difficult situations and feelings is what
Does.
humor will do. Regression can be self-soothing for a while, but when it's taken too far and functioning becomes impaired,
Yeah.
and like you're avoiding your fears of the electricity bill getting cut off and you're not earning enough money to pay the electricity bill, then
Mm.
I think we've got impaired functioning and you might need to seek some treatment
Yeah.
to help you
Which
manage your stressors.
that's it. Which 21 Pilots are not doing in this song.
No, they are not seeking treatment, but what I do like about it is that they are discharging their feelings about it. They
Mm,
are writing about their anxiety,
mm.
which, we often find that journaling, uh, going to therapy and speaking about it, being creative. I mean, the best art comes from pain, right?
Oh, that's it.
So,
It always has.
yeah, the best music comes from emotional pain and
That's right.
turmoil.
That's right.
So I'm here for it. Well done, boys.
Mm,
I think I think that to write about it, to be so raw and vulnerable is really a strength. I think talking about it and creating about it discharges it from ourselves, puts it
mm,
in a different place. It's like it takes the charge out of it is what it does,
mm.
you know?
And that's why
When we
when you were listening to it, you were like, yeah, you didn't feel what they were feeling. You were more uh, enjoying it.
Yeah, therapeutically, I was like, "Yeah, boys, you go get 'em."
Yeah.
This is like an anthem for millennials and Gen Zs who've been sold a lie
Yeah.
about life from their childhoods,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That the good old days will, last forever or
So, so are you
yeah.
saying that yours and my job is not to do that for our potential kids when they grow up?
Yeah, I think you gotta be realistic.
Yeah.
No, I think you've gotta say,
Sorry,
"Yeah, man."
son. Life's a beach, then you die.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, would we buy into it though? Would they buy into it though? Because I don't know that our brains really are developed enough to be able to grasp reality. And we certainly don't want to rob children of imagination and
No, we don't want to scare them.
imaginative play. And, we do want them to experience that, like at least once in their lives. I think we don't want to go back to things being as bleak as children, working as coal deliverers or whatever, or in the mines.
Geez, how far back are we going?
Yeah, a long time. But
Yeah.
it needs to be a balance. And I think, we can find a balance with things like chores and saying, you got to scoop up the dog poop because one day it's all going to be your responsibility. So you've got to learn. You've got to learn how to tolerate it.
Yeah.
You've got to learn how to tolerate the
Bit of hard work.
difficult, mundane things that have to be done as a human being to care for yourself and your surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, 21 Pilots, Stressed Out. We're all
Yeah,
stressed out, fellas.
we
You've
are.
done a really good job to encapsulate, I think, the
What we're all feeling.
what we're all feeling, and particularly millennials and Gen Z, I think.
Um,
They grew up being told that they could absolutely do anything, only to be, you know, hit by adulthood and to
mm,
realize that anything means like paying down your student debt, answering emails,
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
a
Yep,
lifelong subscription to stress.
yeah,
So, I think this song really perfectly illustrates sort of, nostalgia is kind of as a regression, as a way of soothing the self and cope as a coping mechanism for, the immense pressure that society puts on young people to succeed.
yeah.
And that endeth the lesson.
Mm, mic drop.
Any final thoughts from you?
No, it's actually given me a lot to think about as well as because I'm on that. I see myself. I'm a Gen Y. So
Yeah,
what? So Gen Y doesn't exist anymore because Gen Y is essentially between Gen X and millennials. So
yeah,
I've been swapped to a millennial, but I'm like right on that, like the start of the millennialism. But I still call myself Gen Y. So there's parts of this where I'm like, yeah, growing up, yeah, that's so true, and now it's so true. But then there's
mm,
also parts of me are like, oh no, but I think I was also right on that era of a bit like Gen X parenting, where it
yeah,
was sold a little bit different as well.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Well, no, you were parented by boomers.
I was parented by boomers. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was parented by boomers too, but I'm Gen X and we've seen some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys.
We've Yeah, we didn't really get much of a childhood. We had to bring ourselves up,
Yeah.
because our mums were working hard for the money and, probably the first generation of mothers that were out in the workforce. We were latchkey kids. Yeah, we were living on ramen before ramen was cool.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yes, right. Okay, so what's our point, AJ? What is our point as we round off?
I don't know. I've lost my train of thought.
I think our
It's
point
a
is
really fucking good
I
song.
think it's been hard. It's a really good song, and I think it's hard for every generation, and we're all hit
Yeah.
with this harsh reality that, adulthood ain't all it's cracked up to be, and we're not gonna feel confident and competent and have a lot of clarity
No.
like we were told. We were
Yeah.
sold a lie,
That's
and
it.
we are forevermore going to remain either a little bit or a lot stressed out.
Yeah. But if you are stressed
Yeah.
out, listen to this song and it might make you feel a little bit better, just that little bit better
Yeah,
each day.
that's it. And if you are really stressed out, make sure that you take care of your mental health and seek some therapy.
Mm.
There's lots of free services around, and there's lots of paid services as well. So, or, if you don't feel like you want to have therapy, phone a friend, journal it, write it down.
Yep.
Um,
You could
yeah,
your thoughts could be the next big hit of a song.
really good. Or channel it into art.
That's it. Yep.
There it is. Well, it's been a pleasure, AJ.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, Mo.
All
Or Pop.
right.
Pop, I should say. Pop the
Pop.
psychologist.
Righto, drum chucks. I think it's going to stick.
It is. I'm liking it. I think I might have to change. I think we're gonna just stick to drum tracks instead of
That's
AJ. I
that's
think
you.
that's it. I think that's just me
That's
in a
you.
nutshell. Yeah.
Drum chucks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll stick with pop. No, I'm happy to be either. I'll even answer to hey you.
Yeah, that's right. You know what I say? And this is a dad joke coming your way. Just call me anything, just not late for dinner.
There you go. Oh God, that's such a 1970s, 1980s sitcom.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we really are old.
we are.
All right. Speaking of which, I'm a bit
Oh,
late for my dinner, so
yeah. Did we choose a song for the next episode?
I don't think we have. I think it's
Oh,
going to be a surprise. I'm
Oh, I
sorry,
like this.
team, but yeah,
Mm,
yep, I think it's time for a surprise,
I like it.
but you can be guaranteed that it's probably gonna come from the pool of most streamed songs from the last 4 decades.
Maybe we'll try something that's a little bit different to our
A little bit.
previous, different themes.
Oh, what? Oh, I'm All Out of Love, Air Supply? No,
Hey,
no,
let's do it.
we won't do.
Let's do it.
We might do something a little more popular than that.
Yeah,
But, yeah, we'll keep it as a surprise. Let's keep them guessing.
I
Until
like
next
it.
time.
See you
See ya.
later.
Bye.
Bye.
On the couch. On the couch.
Thanks for tuning in to Songs on the Couch. We hope you enjoyed putting today's song under the microscope with us.
And hey, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Join us over on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Songs on the Couch, where we're sharing behind the scene clips, more fun music insights, and of course, chatting with you all.
And if you're an artist, musician, psychologist, counselor, psychotherapist, or you know someone who'd love to sit on the couch with us, have your management reach out. We'd love to hear from you at hello@songsonthecouch.com.
Follow us, subscribe, and let's keep rocking out together. Catch you next time on Songs on the Couch.